Even now, after having done a lot of courses, I still feel like there's so much more to learn. I'm Annemarie Reinhold and I make jewellery and sculptural objects. So I grew up close to Bremen in Germany. I was surrounded by the countryside, and when I was small I went off on my own, discovering little bits of nature. When I finished school in Germany, I knew I wanted to improve my English, and that's how I came to Ireland. I ended up staying, and I heard of the Grammar Craft School in Thomastown. They do a 2-year course, so I did ceramics, I did weaving, I did life drawing, we did printmaking, and we did have metalwork also. I think that was the first time I really learned about metalwork, and I was terrified because you work with hammers and it's quite loud, and the flames, and so it was oh God. Then I got accepted to NCD. I have loads of different sketchbooks, and I guess so sometimes I find nice leaves and I put them in as well. Well, at the moment I guess I feel a little bit it's grey outside, and I'm not as much outside looking for inspiration because it's wet, and so it's nice to have some kind of reference if you want to get some ideas, and you can look back of what you have sketched. So I did go on to do the jewellery skill course in Kilkenny, and as the name already says, it kind of specialises in jewellery, and I hadn't to that time worked in precious metal before. Or during the Kilkenny skill course I had made some carved spoons, so I really enjoyed making vegetable spoons. Design and Crafts Council and the National Museum of Ireland, they put out a call for makers and artists to propose a work of art in how their reaction is to COVID and how they're feeling about it, and I decided to apply. The idea was because during that time I didn't have access to a garden, and thought it would be a nice idea to maybe highlight how important and precious gardens are. So I proposed to create a spoon garden with loads of vegetables. I wanted to make some beetroots and radishes and carrots. The whole garden is displayed in little wooden cubes with a cut-out center, so they will sit in there, and then you can harvest those spoons also. And there will be 16 vegetable spoons. So I got the commission, and that was such a nice thing to have been awarded. The design process, I start usually a lot of the time, for example, I would go to the market and get a radish, for example, and I would do a few studies of the radish. So I would put it in front of me and then do a sketch. It's kind of nice as well to see the different perspective and to see the leaves, how they are, and so that's how I start. And then once I have a basic sketch, I would go and do either a paper maquette, seeing what the paper does. So if you put a big fold in the middle, it creates a nice curve, and paper gives you a good idea of how you can uplift something flat into a 3D shape. So once I have the paper, I sometimes do also sketches in wire. This is a kind of a selection of drawing processes. So these are kind of the sunflower petals. They're kind of dried out, but I really liked when I put them together how they kind of created a nice form and shapes. Relating to that, I did some very loose drawings, so they were with black ink, and I kind of followed certain lines, and I redrew them plenty of times, and it's kind of hard to see here, but I used very fine wire and kind of loosely recreated those lines to maybe help me to understand or how to get to know three-dimensional forms in a very quick way. For the radish spoons, for example, I created copper samples. The metal is very thin gauged, so it kind of bends and looks a little bit flimsy. So to avoid doing that in silver, it's helpful to kind of make a copper maquette. Everything I make kind of starts with a flat sheet of silver, I would, for example, for the leaves, I have like a piece of silver. I would draw the shape I need and then pierce it out with the piercing saw. Here I've worked these already, so you can see kind of I have to achieve this line, the middle line. This is like a little chasing bowl and there's pitch in here. So I have to heat up the pitch a little bit so it gets kind of very soft and a bit sticky. So you press in the leaf and then it holds it in place when you're using a little tool and hammer to chase the lines in it. Yeah, and you can see now like there's like a very fine line in the middle of the leaf, and so you do that a few times depending on how deep you want the line. I got a Futures Makers Award when I finished NCAD. The first one helped me to go to the Bishop's End and to support me with some of the accommodation cost. And the second time I went to Australia. My favorite artist, Julie Blyfield, she lives in Australia and she does incredible silversmithing. So I applied requesting support to go and meet her. It was like incredible because it kind of gave me a little bit of confidence as well that it's possible to do this and to especially like meet people who have done what they're doing successfully. So even now, after having done a lot of courses, I still feel like there's like so much more to learn, and I think the important thing is also that you are with the right people who can teach you, and most of the people are craftspeople who have done what they're doing their whole life, and they have so much knowledge they can show you, and there's so many different processes, so you have to really learn before you make things. So the next step would be to shape the leaves. To create the fold, I kind of use pliers, but also some pressure. And so these are pliers which have like some kind of a nylon, I think, or plastic, so it doesn't leave any marks onto the surface. And so I hold one side and then I kind of try and very gently bend the leaf over. So the different leaves I find have to correspond, because my vegetable spoons have like 2 leaves, so the other leaf kind of has to go with the second leaf. So I did do a little sketch, and then I know one leaf is going to be bigger, it's going in that direction, and then the other one is smaller and follows. But then, they kind of have to work together as well once they're soldered together. I already have some spoons. They are not finished, but they are in one piece. This is a little beetroot here. So once I have 2 leaves, I have a little piece of wire I make, and I attach that to the leaves by soldering. And so I have like a little stem basically, and then after that I attach it to the little spoon bowl. I made this tea light candle holder. It's a little tea light garden. We had the brief to create a functional object from silver. So they are like my first sketches of like little leaves. Then I started to look how I could get this fluidity. I then went onto paper, I did loads of drawings and cut the leaves out, and because that's how you would start when you work in metal as well. You always start with a flat sheet of something. Then I started making these ones in copper. When you're bending all the individual leaves in direction, you have to be very careful that none of the other ones get damaged. And so I think I made in total maybe 4 or 5 of them because copper is a lot less expensive and it's kind of easy as well to form. And then I came up with like a final idea. I decided to try to create a range of jewellery which I can sell and maybe it's a little bit less expensive to purchase for people also, to just have that kind of security. And so I have an online shop, but also sell through a jeweler's in Cork. I do have a range of jewellery, so yeah. It's mainly leaves, and I also smaller range at the moment, so I make like little sprouts. I want to call that collection grow. I guess it's very important to explore different things and to see how it makes you feel, especially when you're not sure if you like it. And sometimes you think you hate something, and then when you're doing it, you really enjoy doing it.